In Marin County, the DA's role or the prosecutor's role for a DUI case will depend on whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony case. That will tell us which level of prosecutor is dealing with the case. Most DUI cases in Marin County are misdemeanors. That's where it's not a fourth DUI within 10 years, and there's not an injury in an accident that is serious enough to make it a felony. So in these cases, Marin County right now, there's a couple different ways that these are negotiated. They have what's called an expediter, and that's someone who's in charge of negotiating the cases. They have attorneys assigned to the case. A lot of them are newer attorneys. Recently, Marin has began a new round of hiring attorneys who seem like they are have more experience in the previous rounds that they were hiring during and shortly after the pandemic. But when we talk to the expediter, which is basically just someone who's been in that office longer than some others, what we're doing is, seeing if after we've done our investigation, what they're willing to do with what we've uncovered. They kind of have a standard guideline of how they make their offers. But what we're trying to do as defense attorneys, and especially the ones that request the additional discovery to help fight our cases, is to get them to see where we're coming from to give us a better result on our case, whether that means dismissing a case, whether it means reducing the charges, or reducing the consequences. And so what we as attorneys, as DUI attorneys in Marin County are doing is requesting records on the breath testing devices that are used in these cases. Those are preliminary devices. Those are evidential devices, most of which are more updated these days. It's not a lot of older devices that they used to use a lot of. And then for blood testing, it's the blood testing devices that are used, and what's called a chromatogram, which is what's testing the sample that's been taken from your body, from your veins, the blood. And so then they're testing that. And we want to see, if there's issues with the testing, if we can find some contamination in the testing or something wrong with the testing or chain of custody, or there are a lot of different things that we're looking at. And so if that does come up, or if there are, accuracy issues or maintenance issues with these devices, or if there are issues with the procedures that the police officers who did the stop and the arrest have used in determining that they're going to arrest you and arresting you for a DUI in Marin County, then we can present that to the prosecutor to try and get a better result in your case. And that's one of the many reasons why you're hiring a lawyer who can negotiate with the prosecutor. Now, if the prosecutor we're dealing with is not seeing something that we think they should be seeing, on the rare occasion we can, talk to their supervisor, who may, be willing to consider something that they're not. But really, the role of the person who's negotiating the case for the prosecutor's office is to follow the guidelines, and also they're supposed to have an open mind and be fair when there are some serious questions, and when we have shown them that their burden, which is to be able to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt on all the charges and show that the elements are there for conviction for them. When we can show that there are problems with their case, they should be reacting, and usually that's with either a dismissal, which would be appropriate but doesn't always happen, or a reduction of charges. And you know what? A lot of times what happens when we can point these things out is they still say, well, that's not enough. They're very strict on DUIs and what they're willing to do in Marin County, especially, with, it's tough law. It's this county, and in almost every other county in California, especially in the San Francisco Bay Area, is tough on DUIs. And so they're not really willing to dismiss very often. They're more willing to reduce than dismiss. But we've just got to show them that this is the proper situation where they should and why. Something that I haven't talked about that they will consider in the DA's office that we can negotiate with is if someone has immigration issues. Sometimes with a job, with a profession that you're in, maybe something in the medical field, nursing, doctors, things like that, especially after COVID, they're more receptive to this, therapists. And so what we do is we can present collateral consequences letter. And that's something that they will look at, and they may reduce charges on or dismiss a case on based on the consequences of the case. So a lot that can be talked about. It's really, really a good idea to get a lawyer who knows what they're doing in Marin County or whatever county your case is in, and let them fight for you to get you the best results possible.